Hello everyone, welcome to David Oshin Podcast. In this podcast, I engage CEOs, founders, and thought leaders in conversation that inspire the next generation of leaders to succeed. Never miss any edition of this podcast and stay blessed. So I know Mr. Ezekiel Salako is well known and renowned in the IT space, and is someone who's been there for over 2 decades. So your presence is so strong. But it's easy to see the success story, what you created, jobs and all of that. There are so many other things behind the scenes that many people don't know. So I want to just share the story, how you got into IT and how the journey has been for yourself.
Wow. Thank you so much for having me, David, once again. I think if I remember correctly, I served in the year 2001. And during that time, it wasn't easy. I served with CBC, City Business Computer. I think they are popular around Lekki Phase 1. Their CBC house in Lekki Phase 1. Then they were still in Apapa. So I served in Apapa, and that time, imagine we could not even do so many things on Windows. So we were introduced to Linux. I think that was where I started from. So we started doing what we call Solaris. So it was highly demanding then because we just have to learn commands, we have to learn codes. And then internet was not readily available just like this. So we have to read, we have to study hard, we have to take some very big textbook and read about products, about solutions. And I remember then CBC, they were supporting big banks then, like the likes of Union Bank, Bank of then. I think they have something to do with UBA, if I remember. They have something to do with some other banks. Those banks, some banks are no more now. So we go, and telcos generally, Econet, Realtor, Starcom, those were the big customers. And we have to learn, because as soon as we get there, despite the fact that we are just learning, those people, they see us as somebody that manufactures those equipment. So you just have to be on top of your game. So we came up, and it was like going to universities again. That's one thing I want people that are just going into IT now to know. The fact that you just finish an institution doesn't mean that is all. You are just starting. And I could remember at a particular time, the MD then called, I think I've shared this with so many, called myself. There's one person called Kunle Inwidapo, Kunle Windy. You can Google the person maybe when you have time. There's one other person, Stella. I can't remember the surname of Stella. Three of us, we were called in the one evening, and we were told to wait for MD. We waited. And that evening, MD came and said he was going to sack us. Why? He said, he told us that we were so dense, we don't know what we were doing, we were not pulling up, we were not trying. And that was, seriously, that was what it used to be. And from that day, and it was one of the ED, his blessed memory, that's Mr. Kunle Oderino, that begged for us. And from that time, our orientation to things changed. And before we left that, you can Google Kunle Windapo and see where the guy is now on the IT world. And by the grace of God, where I am. And everything changed from that time. And we became the best of the best. And we make our name in the IT industry. So what am I saying? If you are just coming, the advice I will only tell you that you are just learning. You have to run with your vision. You don't have to slack. You have to have fun. Seriously, you have to. But at the same time, your eyes must always be on the prize. You have to catch up with the technology. In our own time, maybe things are changing, maybe 2 years. Now things are changing 3 months, 6 months. So you have to run and follow up with the trend. I think that's all what I just have to say in sum.
Yeah, you said running up and following up the trend and trying to catch up the trend.
Yeah.
And That's a very big issue now because we know tech is growing gradually, um, the very fast pace. But what are the major trends that you have seen and you have observed? In the next couple of between now and the next 5 years, what are the major tech trends that you've observed?
The trend that, is not specific because it changes from field to field. For example, now we are major in storage and virtualization. If I should take storage for example, what an intelligent storage can do like last year is not all those things can do far more. I will tell you, if you go back to like 5 years ago, for example, you will see some of in our own world, we have some type of disk that we call them SATA drive. We have SAS drive. SAS drive used to be the fastest drive, but now they will tell you they have disks that are just like memory, NVMe drives, and they are so fast and they are even very big. You get what I'm saying? And the ways of doing so many things before, everything has changed because now everything is several things that you are doing now are AI enhanced. It's not just what you just do before. So you have faster way of doing things now, not like before. And you can't if you can't follow up with the trend, no, I don't want to say you'll be left behind.
Okay, so considering your experience now, how do you follow up with trends? Is it through newsletters or through you watch some YouTube channels, or what's your own means of following up the trend?
Yeah, there's so many. You follow with newsletter, you read articles, you read you look at tech, and each of the tech you are interested in roll out new things, new roadmap, where they will be in the next couple of years or in the next couple of things. What are the new technology that are coming out? What are the features that the one coming out is having that the present one is not having, and none like that. You get what I'm saying? Formally, for example, they will tell you if you want to do metro cluster. I don't think we have metro. I don't know of anyone in Nigeria that's it's just 200 kilometer. But now they will tell you it can cover how many thousands of, you understand, of kilometer. So trend things are just changing. So if you are going to your customer and you are still saying just 200 kilometer, you can't sell because another person is going to come and pitch the same thing at a better quality and better value to them, and you will be nowhere.
All right, great. So you moved from being someone who learned from IT. I think you started with your IT training, right? After your NYC.
Yes.
Yeah, good. So you moved in from there to going to form your own company and all of that. How's the journey been? What has been the greatest challenge you have?
Honestly, I didn't just form my own company. There was place of learning, there was place of patience, there was place of tolerance, and there was also place of humility. It's not just if you just say you are coming and you are running out like that, oh, you are going to miss it. And also there must also be, although this is not religion, but I will also put it there, it's also place of God. You cannot forget that. So if you say you are just running it, you can also run out directly like that. I took over, if I remember correctly, over 20 years to work at different establishments before starting mine. So it's not that I just ran in after 2 years, I'm out to start mine. Well, it's possible, but at the same time, there are so many things you have to learn. Apart from techie side, you also need to learn management, you need to learn administration, you need to learn so many things. So, and it's all encompasses before you can just say you are standing on your own.
All right, great. So I want to ask that for someone who is just kind of starting, what are the basic things you need to know or basic skills you need to have before you can say he's an IT infrastructure professional?
All right. For example, IT infrastructure is wide. IT is wide. If you not say, okay, IT infrastructure is also very wide. So the first thing is that you need to know where my interest lies. Okay, my interest lies in networking. Which side of networking? Is it security? Is it whatever? Okay, is server and storage? Where are you going? Okay, you want to do IBM, Dell, VMware. Okay, I'm going to storage. Is it NetApp, HP, and the rest? So you need to know, okay, where my interest is, first of all. Then number two, you can use so many tools to even train yourself without that are easy now. For example, now from Udemy, from Coursera, you can get so many training for yourself free of charge. It's a matter of yourself sitting down and learning those things. I remember my daughter just finished higher institution. She finished immediately. She finished, I think she finished this year. Yes, she finished immediately. She finished. Those times she was having holiday, I would have booked some courses on Coursera for her and all those things. Immediately she finished, I just booked another course for her. I told her, take, this is money, go and do 2 certifications. I was having mind that she will fail. She faced the first time, and the next time she passed the next two. So, which is just a very good one for her CV, you know. So you have to start learning, pushing yourself. Okay, this is my area of my interest. You have to start learning. You have to start learning. Okay, is it cloud computing that my interest is? Is it cyber security? Is it data science? Is it also AI? Is it robotic? Where's my area of interest? Then you now know, okay, this is where I have to learn. That is your major course, your major area. You can also learn other things too, but your focus must still be where your area of interest is. And
Okay,
also,
so
there are also so many free articles, so many free documentations online that you can just grab and use, and that will be useful for you.
you talked about so much now, and I also remember in the Technovate Fest, you talked about when you're working for a company where you went to. I think you worked for there was a bank that you worked for, and I think they were using this server, maybe an old server, and the owner of the company or maybe the CEO wanted it. They kept that server for quite a long time, maybe like 8 years. And when you came back, you
Yeah.
said there's no how, yeah, this would have been compromised and all of that.
Yes.
Yeah, great. So I wanted to ask a question there that concerning cybersecurity that you just mentioned now, how do you think because most Nigerian companies still don't, even you mentioned banks and stuff, still don't they've not yet caught up with technology in terms of how fast it's moving, and they are still victims. So what would you say is your own advice for companies in how to keep their space?
Honestly, my advice is, when it comes to security, you cannot cut corners.
So
So as new patches, new updates are coming up, as soon as these guys are saying there's new patches, there's new updates, I can assure you that there is a hole or a vulnerability in the former one. So if you are staying in the former one, that means you are always making yourself vulnerable to attack. That is why so many OEM will say, okay, immediately this is the new patch, you have to upgrade, you have to put this anti-ransomware, you have to do this, you have. So if you are saying, and some they don't come free anyway. In some OEM, those things are free. Some they will say you have to pay to get those things. But anything that is security, you can never cut corners. You cannot. You can never cut corner, because if once they attack you, that money you are trying to save, you are going to lose times how many of that money. So that's just my advice. No cutting corners when it comes to IT security. You must fulfill every purpose, all firewall, all security, all patch, all everything must be in place. So that is why you see that some Nigerian banks are being attacked. Some one of my customer was attacked sometimes ago. I think that was last 2 years. And what happened? I got there, they were attacked. So we were able to recover to bring them back almost immediately. However, when I asked those guys, what happened? Sometimes it might also be negligent of the staff. Then those guys confided in me that, please, we did a maintenance maybe during the weekend. However, we didn't remember to turn on our firewall. So just between that Saturday evening and Monday morning, they saw they were being attacked. They were asked to pay with Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, all those people will not mention, they will not come out to mention those things to you. These are happening even in Nigeria. I've seen cases. I've recovered like few ones that I know. I've seen cases like that. And I said, why would you do that? They say they were running home because they finished late. They didn't. So when it comes to security, you don't cut corners for whether human negligence, whether you have to buy software, whether you have to do one thing or the other. You don't cut corners. You must always tick everything and be sure everything is in place.
Alright, that's just the truth. But for you at Air Force now, what will you say is the major challenge you are facing in Nigeria currently?
In Nigeria, number one, the inflation of naira to dollar is a very big challenge, and there is little money in to spend than before. So that is a very big challenge, because at this time that is one of the reasons why people want to cut corners, because they have very little budget for IT infrastructure. And unfortunately, a lot of establishments, they see IT departments as a cost center. However, if you try to quantify those things that those IT guys are doing, and you build the establishment, or maybe they assume they are giving those things, everything to third party, they will know how much those guys are saving them from. So those are the challenges. They see IT as a cost center. So some, they don't just want to release money. They believe, okay, it's only sales, but they've forgotten that they are neglecting one of the major aspects of their business, which is the IT. So those are the challenges.
And we don't advise companies to do third party a lot, have you? We don't really advise third party.
No, it doesn't matter. It depends on what suits you. If you
And
have
they are
a very good,
profitable.
yes, it depends on what suits you. It depends on if you have in-house team that can execute what you plan. Why not? You have in-house. But if you feel you don't have in-house team that are good enough, why not outsource those things so that you have a very good service, and your customer can also have a very good service too.
Okay, that's great. So for your company, if you are looking at recruiting, where are the areas you are looking at for recruiting new talents?
Now, presently, we just took some guys now. I think they resume at the middle of this month. Mainly for us, for us, it's purely IT infrastructure. So, however, if it's an entry level, we just look at your interest in IT mainly, and we look at what you've done in the school. We look at your grade, and we look at how teachable you've demonstrated. Sometimes you might even have some things and you've not demonstrated that you are teachable, so we will not take you. So those are the areas we look for freshers. But for professionals, we look at so many things. We look at your certifications, we look at the projects you've done, we look at what you have demonstrated, what you can demonstrate that you can do. That, if you are taking professional, immediately they are just going into field. But if you are taking an entry level, maybe a fresh graduate, you have to train such person for a period of time. You get, so that's just it.
And for professionals, what certifications do you respect for professionals?
And for us, mainly, I've told you that our major is virtualization and storage. So
Right.
storage certifications, virtualization certifications, and
Right.
if you have cloud certifications too. It's also good for us.
Okay, great. So I've met some HR and they'll tell me that they don't like employing IT young people, that they give them a lot of problem in their neck. I don't know your experience with them. You said it's like you have to be doing the work over and over again. So what's been your experience with IT trainees?
Yes, sometimes uh, uh, I for organization to take IT, you mean IT person that okay, you mean IT trainees or fresh graduates,
Trainees,
sorry.
trainees, yeah, trainees.
Is oh, for me is a way of giving back. If I have an IT trainee, if we have IT trainee, I don't. How long are they staying? Max, they will stay 6 months and they will go back. It's a way of just giving back to them. So I don't take it as anything. Sometimes we even like to expose them more so that they can go back and they can have some rethinking for their future.
Okay, great, great. So now looking at Nigeria currently, now particular about Nigeria, we've seen some banks core software go down easily, and we've seen most of these payment platforms take that advantage. So you hear, I've seen people tell me, "Oh, please just bring OPay. I don't want this traditional bank." So what will you see as the major issue with traditional banks that make their network and everything go slow?
Honestly, I used to hear that because all these pocket banks like OPay, Money Point, they will always say, okay, everybody will say we want OPay, we want we want Money Points and Kuda and the rest of them. Honestly, I don't think what we just need to I don't number one, we have okay, you started with some traditional banks going down. Did I hear you saying that?
Network, yes. Most times you can see
Network going down.
network
So
now.
what happened recently? What happened recently? They were, according to what I heard, I don't know whether it's true. Some were migrating their uh,
Yes, I
black
know of, yeah,
banking software
some were
from one to
migrating, like
the
BT
other.
Bank was
So,
migrating, yes.
so that one, I will say there is no. I want to say there is no. Uh, from my own end, I want to say there is no proper planning because
Okay.
uh, we have migrated. Uh, I've been involved in bank migration several times, and it didn't affect people. Did not know that we were doing migration, and we did the whole migration. And in the morning of Monday, everything was okay. Not one, not two. So there are ways that you can always migrate with you and your partners and your application providers that you can achieve that. Not that the bank, even if the bank will be affected, it will be on that first day. So not that the banks will now be affected for 2 weeks. No, 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 no. It's not proper. I think there are some things that are not in place that are supposed to be in place. That's one. Then for all these other ones, it's just bandwidth, and other banks can also achieve it. Then other banks that went down that were not doing data migration. I heard that uh, not that I know because we brought up some customers also. There is a co-location center that went down, and some of those banks were they are also housing their data in that co-location center. So as soon as the co-location center had power issue, so all the banks that were there, they all went down. So they were all affected. So it was not their fault per se. So they came up back after a while. So that is one. Then if you are now comparing bank to all these our pocket bank. Honestly, the normal bank is carrying more load, more data compared to all these other ones than all these other ones. However, anything those ones achieve can also be is also achievable in normal bank. It's a matter of processing speed and bandwidth. It can also be achieved. It can also be achieved. We just need to sit up and just move on. It can also be achieved.
Okay, I think the advantage of cloud is no matter the amount, it should still be scalable. So I wonder why banks should have the problem because they have the money to be able to achieve that. So I don't know
No.
why. It's like,
In the bank case, such informations, the core banking informations are not in the cloud. They are on-prem or in their on the colocation center. So they are never in the cloud. You get what I'm saying? So
yes.
such informations, core banking information, are never in the cloud. So, however, there are ways that all this can still be achieved.
Okay, so let's before we round up, let me ask you, how do you approach building a high performing team? How do you build and manage a high performing team?
Approach building high performing team. Oh,
Yes.
God help us. Number one is at all time, we all know what we call KPI. Every time you measure a staff with what is able to achieve. So if there is no dashboard, a measuring dashboard, number one, the staff may not even know is not performing because nothing to show that is not performing. And some, what they are doing is just effort and no result. And they don't know they are not achieving result. They just see them running here and there without achieving nothing. But if you measure from time to time, it will also be clear to them that no, actually I'm not performing. So from time to time, even a person that is not performing over a period of time, you may encourage that person the way to go. But if he's not interested in IT, he might just leave for others that can perform to fill this is our gap. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yes.
the way to achieve a high performing team is to measure from time to time. To measure from time to time. That is just it. That's one. Then number two, you also have to train your staff. I don't believe a lot of establishment will say, no, I can't train, or even if I train, they will run away. If they should run away, you deposited, maybe to me, they will deposited something into their life for them and their family. So you have to train. And what if they don't go? You make them to be useless for your company. So you have to train, you have to pay appreciably well, although there's no amount of money that you can pay that will be enough, but you have to try, then you have to measure all the time.
Oh, okay. So wonderful. About measuring now, I know there are different approaches for measuring. On your own part, what are the measuring tools that you use? Are
Oh,
there
actually,
specific apps? Are there specific tools that you use for your measuring?
Actually, we are not a very large team. We are a very small team. So for now, we are not using any tools. It's still manual process, but we are still following it. But we still measure from time to time. As a matter of fact, we measure each month what each person has been able to achieve. So at the end of the at the end of appraisal, even before you are appraised, you already know what your appraiser is because we measure you from time to time.
All right, great. So the last question I'll ask now is, looking at efforts in the next 4 5 years, what are your plans and what do you aim to achieve in the next 5 years from now?
Okay, thank you so much. In the next 5 years, we by the grace of God, we want to be bigger and better, and we want to be better known in Nigeria, and not only in Nigeria, in across this West Africa when it comes to IT infrastructure and professional service. So that is our aim. So, and God helping us, we are going to achieve that.
All right, great. So thank you so much for this time. I appreciate it so much, sir. Thank you,
Thank you so
sir.
much, Oga David. God bless. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.